in the old days, ministers were simply ministers, weren't they? When you think about it, the only true people that you knew about for your head of politics would be the president, or indeed the deputy, the vice president, or of course over here the prime minister. And when you also think about it, let's look back in history. Could you remember anybody else really that was in, say, Winston Churchill's cabinet? I'm sure there were a lot of people, but they didn't seek the limelight or indeed look for publicity. How times have changed in the 21st century, because as everybody knows, everybody's working on their brand. I remember recently in the studio, one budding MP who's now become a sir, I might point out, kept saying to his assistant, "Yes, but is this good for my brand?" And I wanted to say to him, I think your job's just being a local MP. Why are you bothered about your brand? But everybody is. And what's fascinating now, you see, is this particular man, that's right, the man who apparently is going to take the rest of the United Kingdom, and no doubt the rest of the world, down to net zero. Well, he's decided he's a little bit vain too. As ever, let me explain. Morning, lovely to see you. Thank you so much as ever for taking the time out to join me today. We've had to come inside a beautiful hotel here simply because it's so bad weather-wise outside. Literally couldn't hold the stick with the wind. Yes, I know it's terrible, isn't it, when it gets to that point? Not easy, of course, but never giving in to bring you all the latest news that matters to you. We're talking about this man, really, and how many people will know him over here in the United Kingdom for that unfortunate incident when he was snapped trying to eat one of those delicious bacon rolls. And it's a picture really that's haunted him. But of course, Ed Miliband came back into the government all thanks to his chum, Sir Keir Starmer. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, because a little bit like the Deputy British Prime Minister, Angela Rayner, who decided that she needed her own personal photographer at £68,000 a year, all paid for by you, the British taxpayer, to make sure that her timing power is well documented. And remember, they will use these pictures to sell on for books and magazine spreads. You're paying for it. So guess what? Ed's decided to follow suit. Yes, he wants to rid the world of that picture of him with a bacon sandwich. And so he's decided that he's looking for a personal vanity photographer for £41,000 a year, plus travel. Guess what? All at taxpayers' expense. Now, moving forward, there hasn't exactly been an influx of people. This could be the fact that the job is actually more intricate than you first thought. You have to have an in-depth knowledge of how to turn pictures around, look for the right locations, and more importantly, be a whiz on the world of Photoshop. Oh yes, Ed wants to portray himself as youthful and, more importantly, with a zing, making sure that any, shall we say, misdemeanors facially are simply wiped away. This is about rewriting the imagery, the message, and according to that source, Ed's been buoyed on by his social media presence, in particular connecting with the Gen Z of TikTok. Now, I don't know about you, but really, would you fancy a job following this man around for £41,000 a year, making sure he looks more palatable to, of course, the taxpayer, you and I, the British taxpayer? Of course, once again, it's all at your expense. I'd love to know what you think to this particular story in, of course, the comments below. And if you can, please like and share. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.